So yeah, I got COVID. I got it earlier this year. So today's video is going to be a little bit of a story time, a little bit of my experience getting COVID. And I also want to review good practices, best practices for how, if, when to exercise or not exercise when you're feeling under the weather or you're sick. I will not be giving specifically advice around exercise and COVID. I will just be talking about how you can approach exercise if you're feeling like poop. There are times when maybe it would make you feel better to exercise and times when it would be better to rest. So I'm gonna review that. The other kind of weird thing I'm gonna talk about is the olfactory training I did, which is not what you think it is. It's not the same type of training that you guys are used to me talking about. This was me training my sense of smell because I lost it during COVID and I still don't have it. I want to talk about what I mean by that and what I have been doing to train my nose to re-smell the good smells. And if you have COVID and you have long COVID symptoms like that, maybe this could help you too. I'm not an expert, but I'll share with you what I've been doing. Of course, if you're here, please subscribe, please like this video, and I'm gonna get into it. I will start off by saying that I am vaccinated now. I was not vaccinated when I got COVID because it was not available yet for me. So just to get that out of the way. I got COVID several months ago, earlier this year, and it was scary, but I was very lucky in that I didn't have crazy symptoms. It was sort of just like the flu, and I was totally fine. The way I got it was pretty predictable. So you guys know I build and run and work on Smalletics from home, making content for you guys and coaching my clients online. However, my former partner at the time, he is and was client facing. So he was around people every day, even throughout COVID. So we knew the whole last year that we were more at risk because even though I worked from home and didn't see anybody, he was coming home every day, having been exposed to a number of individuals. So when he found out that one of the people he worked with had a positive test, he knew that he'd be positive because he had seen this person every day for weeks. And of course, I knew that I would then be positive, even if it was gonna be several days later that it would show. So around that time, I was like, crap. I went and got a test and it came back negative, but there was just really no way. I knew I was gonna get it at that point. So that's when I started my isolation where I didn't leave the house except to get a COVID test, a positive COVID test. I also went and got a test the first day of symptoms in which I had a fever of about 100 and I think it was 100, 101. And I walked to the COVID testing site in Brooklyn and tested negative again, but I was pretty sure it was COVID. So when I went back finally again, it did test positive and thankfully I had been isolating at that point. So that just goes to say, I took all the precautions during COVID. Of course, I wore a mask everywhere. I didn't go anywhere to begin with, really. But just due to my living arrangements, it just happened. So the week was very uneventful. As you can imagine, I was just in my house for 14 days, pretty much. The symptoms I had were really, really different depending on the day. It was a rapidly changing experience, or cold, I guess. Going from starting off really mild brain fog, mild sore throat, a little cough, but not a bad cough, unease, like malaise, fever. My fever went away after the first day. And then as I went through the 14 days in my house, it felt a little different every day. Some days I had a stomachache, some days it was more like coughing, some days it was more headache. Some days I had nerve pain and joint pain. It just changed depending on the day. But nothing kept me, bedridden. I worked from home the whole entire time. I did not work out. We'll get to that in a second. And in terms of the hardest parts for me personally, which I had a very mild case, thankfully, very lucky for that, was that my heart rate was very high. So as a former athlete, my resting heart rate is very low. It's in the 40s. With COVID, I would wake up and it'd be at like 120 beats per minute, which was totally wild, like over double what I'm used to. Even just laying still, it'd be like, blah, 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 I'm beating for 14 days straight. And then it finally subsided and went back to normal. And I also got a weird rash about halfway through. I don't know what that was from. I met with a doctor, like a telehealth meeting, and they did not know either. So we just decided, okay, that's just a weird thing that happened. And then the other two symptoms that were the hardest, and this is the one where I'm getting to the smell, I lost my taste for about 5 days. It was brutal because it wasn't like when you lose your taste and you're sick. That's like you can still kind of taste foods. This was like food tasted like just texture, like you're biting into like a couch or something. And I said that literally just because I am sitting on a couch. It was the first thing I thought of. But yeah, food just tasted like tasteless texture, and that was weird. In terms of my scent, I lost my sense of smell, and then my taste came back first after a few days, and then my smell came back temporarily and then left again. Since then, it's been several months. I have had weird experiences with my smell. It's come back. This is the weird thing, you guys. My smell has come back, but only the good smells, okay? Like, just bear with me for a second. I know you're thinking like, only the good smells. Like, I would pay for that, right? Like, that's what a lot of people have told me. They're like, I would literally pay for that scenario where you only smell good things and you can't smell the bad things. But honestly, it gets annoying and dangerous in some circumstances. For example, I can't smell the gas on my like stovetop, and I live alone. So it's like, kind of scary, right? I don't know if I check it all the time just because I'm paranoid about it. I can't smell garbage, which is great, but you know, there's been some stories. Like, there was this one day I was on a run in Brooklyn, and I was running, there was a car in front of me, and then presumably more cars in front of that car, but I couldn't see it because it was a truck, and like, couldn't see what was in front of the truck. And I was running behind the truck. There were other runners around me, right? So we're like jogging, and like listening to music, and then suddenly all of the runners around me just like fled, like they just disappeared, like they all like turned in corners. And I was like, okay, like I guess coincidence, right? But then as I go up a few blocks, I run a few blocks, I get around this truck in front of me, and I've been running behind the New York City garbage truck for like 10 blocks, okay? Like, everybody else could smell that, but I couldn't at all. Like, I would have ran behind that thing for 3 miles and I would not have known at all. Of course, as soon as I could, I went and got vaccinated after recovering from it, and especially, you know, once it became available. And I also only have this smell thing. So to get back to the smell thing, and then we'll end the story time and get into like practical advice for training when you're sick. I cannot smell anything bad, including like Sesame's litter box, BO, bodily odors. The weird thing is I can't smell people anymore, which you would think wouldn't matter, but it kind of does. Like, you kind of miss how people smell. I don't know why. It's just a thing. It's like a human thing, right? So in an effort to try to get my smell back, I started researching olfactory training, and I started my own olfactory training journey. And I'm gonna share with you guys what I've been doing for that. Okay, I have my essential oils kit. I also thought it could be fun to do an olfactory test right now and see if I can smell any of these now. Ooh, I opened the box, I can smell for, you know, it's faint. My smell came back, but it's a lot fainter than it used to be. So these are essential oils. I learned about olfactory training from YouTube. Hello. I just literally looked up how to get your smell back after COVID, and I found a really great quick video. I'll put it in the description because he's gonna explain this way better than me. I wanna give him the credit. And he talks about a little bit of the science behind olfactory training. And then he also was like, just go on Amazon, buy some essential oils and start reintroducing smells to your nostrils, and you keep track of them. So I listed out on the back of this the dates, and then I scored myself on how well I could smell them on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 was, this smells like nothing. And 5 was like, this is a full on, this is the full smell. So we have in here eucalyptus, peppermint, lemongrass, lavender, tea tree, and sweet orange. I'll also link this below. It was like the cheapest essential oils I could find. And a really good tip I got from this guy was, you don't wanna like stick it up in your nostril. That's what I wanted to do. I don't know if that's the urge you get. Definitely what I would do if I hadn't watched this video. He's like, your nostrils will pick up on the scent better if you waft. Pinky out, I don't know, that just feels really fancy to waft it. It's still so hard to resist, just like sniffing, like, you know? But yeah, okay, so the weird thing is I used to score this on a 0 to 5, right? And I started at 0 for several days, even a week. I think I was at 0 on all 6 scents. And then after about 2 weeks, I got a faint hint of them back. And I was at like a 3, a 2 or a 3. And then finally I got up to 4s or 5s on all of them. However, in the last month or so, my smell has changed again. And it's become, everything smells burnt. So food smells like it's been burnt, or it smells like smoke, which is a common thing for people who have this long COVID symptoms. So I can smell this eucalyptus, I can smell it, but it also smells burnt. So I'm curious to see what the peppermint and the other ones will smell like. I'd say peppermint 0 to 5. Oh, yeah. I can smell it at like a 4, which is good, but it also still smells burnt. So kind of burns. Okay, lemongrass is next. This one's faint for me. It's also a fainter essential oil, you know what I'm saying? I'd give it a 3, but it also smells burnt. The lavender actually doesn't smell burnt, but it doesn't smell like I remember. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, it's lavender, but like something's not right about it. Something's not right. That's how I would describe COVID. Something is not right here. The tea tree, that's absolutely putrid. I haven't smelled these in months and that smells horrible. I don't know if it's tea tree or me. So, but at least I can smell them. Sweet orange smells amazing. 5. Like 5 out of 5 stars, and I can smell it 5 out of 5 on the scale. So my smell did come back. I would recommend olfactory training if you're struggling with long COVID symptoms. It helped me have something to look forward to every day because I had nothing to do at the time besides work and wait to be healthy and get retested. And the other thing is that it feels really hopeless when you can't taste your smell, and this gave me hope, like at the time. So I would recommend this if you're struggling with that. So part 2 of this video is, I wanted to share with you guys, when should you work out when you're sick, and when should you not work out and just rest instead when you're sick? Because a lot of times we don't know what we should do, and we also feel guilty about not, and that needs to go. So let's talk about some considerations. Now, I prescribe to science. So science generally says, like Mayo Clinic and other reputable sources, that if the cold is above the neck, such as a common cold, so you have a runny nose, you have some congestion, that it's safe to exercise, or it's okay to exercise. And if it's below the neck, so that's like chest congestion, difficulty breathing, body aches, that you should rest. I basically prescribe to that exact same guideline with an extra bit of knowing my own body really well on top of that. So overall, the most important thing to keep in mind is that when you exercise when you're sick, you could actually be making it worse for you in the long run, whereas it might just be better to stop, relax, rest, recover, so you can get back to your full intensity workouts sooner. Another thing you can do if you're not sure if you should exercise or not, is just lower the intensity and see how that feels as like a test run. So in this case, you want to let your body be the guide, but something I might do if I'm not sure, if I have a headache and I'm like, I don't know if exercise will help this or hurt it. At this point, I pretty much know exercise almost always helps me unless it's stomach related or I have a fever. But if I am not sure, I would go for a walk, something lower intensity, bring, low heart rate. It's not going to be taking all of your like body's bandwidth to walk down the street or walk through your neighborhood. So, and that can also be just a good way to get your circulation going and also get some fresh air and kind of just help you feel good. So if you have been stuck in the house for days and you feel really miserable and you're like, I just need to do something, try something low intensity first, like a walk. Don't try lifting weights or HIIT training or going to an Orange Theory class. Just like keep it low key for a bit. You can also reduce the length or the duration of your workouts. So once I recovered from COVID, I actually started to test the waters with cardio first, just to see if my breathing was affected. Luckily it wasn't. My heart rate had resumed to normal, and I started with cardio first. The key is, if you were really sick, to make sure you re-enter your fitness routine gradually. Don't go back to lifting your PR weights right away. Like start with, a way lower percentage of your max lift number than you ever do. Just start slowly and get back into it slowly, even if you really want to go ham. Another thing to keep in mind from a mindset perspective, just like one salad can't make you ripped, one cheeseburger can't make you overweight. Skipping a workout here and there or resting instead of working out cannot ruin your progress. It just doesn't work like that. You have a lot of time, a lot of weeks, several weeks before you're gonna start really noticing a change in body composition. You'd have to really do nothing, and it's just not likely. So don't worry about losing progress. It's just a few days. Focus on your rest, recovery, health, and then get back to it, because we're looking at longevity here, sustainability, your ability to be healthy your whole life, not like literally just today. So remember to like zoom out and look at the big picture as well. Another thing I would do, sometimes if I feel like I'm about to get sick, I do not go really hard in the workout that day, and I go to bed early. So if you know your body really well, you can also modify the intensity of your exercise and focus on trying to prevent your colds, through rest, recovery, proper vitamin and minerals and diet, to make sure your immune system is really firing and it's really protecting you. So sometimes if I feel like something's a little scratchy throat, something's going on, I'll rest that day or just really lower the intensity. But you have the ability to change the intensity based off of how well you know your body and how you feel. So let your body be your guide for that. All right, you guys, I hope that you liked this video and my story time. Let me know your COVID stories below if you want to share. Hope everybody's doing well. And if you found the tips about exercising when you're sick helpful, give this video a thumbs up and support my channel. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.